assuming that there is a one-way movement from the material thing to the non-material thing. I assert that I can equally plausibly show that there is a movement in the opposite direction. In medicine, there is something known as the placebo effect. For example, you're sick, you go to see the doctor. Now, your physical condition is already determined, right? You're sick in some way. And yet, if you think you're going to get well, even though you take no medicine, or you just take water, but you think that the water contains medicine, your mind is able to reshape the matter, and you actually feel better. So here is a practical example. By the way, one of the most widely tested examples in all of medicine. It's believed that 20 to 30% of all cures in medicine are due to the placebo effect. Here is a concrete example of mind shaping matter in very much the same way that you assert, dogmatically, that matter shapes mind. I agree with Dan that this is an unsettled matter. There's a lot of research going into it. I want to just deny at the end of this debate that religious people operate in some kind of self-satisfied certainty. I maintain that if you read the Bible, you read the book of Job, you read Christian theologians from Augustine on, so you will realize this is absolutely not so. Yes, there are self-satisfied jerks everywhere. On the other hand, the true Christian tradition is one of humility. It is one of questioning. It is one of being open to truth. I would maintain that that questioning spirit of science is very much not only related to, it is in some way a product of Western Christianity.
I'm going to ask our last two questioners to ask their questions in succession, and then give each speaker a minute, and then we're done.
So my question is, first of all, I don't really believe that there has been equal dignity for women established universally. I think it's more legislative than actually socially or culturally established. But this is for both candidates, as has been said. But why are women almost universally excluded from the hierarchies of religion and decision-making in religions?
Thank you. Ask the next question, please. Yeah.
Yeah, my question is for Mr. D'Souza. One of the things you've been saying a lot is that everything has to have a creator, so like the car has to have a maker, the painting has to have a painter. Well, why is God exempt from that rule? Because if he has a creator, then then we have to ask, like, who's his creator, where did he come from, who created him? But if he doesn't have a creator, then how did he get there?
Thank you.
Answer either question.
I'll answer the first one. I think that the reason that women have in general not played those roles does have ultimately a biological explanation in terms of the way in which human cultures have evolved and in the way in which males have moved into positions of power and maintained them over the years. That's a long story, but it's also, I think, not very original. So I think it's a good question, and I think it has an answer if you consider religion as a natural phenomenon, as I do, and there's quite a literature on it. Now, anticipating maybe another filibuster to the left, since this may be my last remark, oddly enough, I'm going to say something that you won't understand, but somebody out there will. Dennett Singer, if you ever hear this, I've lost your address and I would like to reply to you.
Well, let me say this. I apologize if I've overspoken my time. Perhaps the reason most of the questions were aimed at me is that we're speaking in an audience where young people today are more naturally sympathetic to Dennett. In other words, if we were having the same debate in a church, most likely most of the questions would have gone to him. He would have every chance to filibuster. And also he's here at Tufts. You can come talk to him tomorrow. You won't have me here tomorrow. So perhaps that's one reason the questions came to me. I think the one charge I do want to answer at the end here is just briefly this charge of caricature. And I want to say that it's, I went back and I read Stephen Jay Gould of Harvard, one of the world's leading biologists, I think everyone would agree. And Dan's a philosopher, but I think he'd probably concede that Steve knows more about biology than he does. In his review of Dan's book, he says, he calls it a caricature of a caricature. He says that Dawkins has taken evolution and absurdly extended it into all kinds of other areas it doesn't belong. He's using evolution to explain economics, infidelity, laughter, law, literature, music, politics, war, why children don't like vegetables, why men don't like to ask for directions. This is, you can say, evolution run amok. And I think, quite honestly, it is a claiming of the prestige for science, for making metaphysical and political claims that have nothing to do with science. So Gould used the phrase Darwinian fundamentalist. And what he means by this is not that Dan is a religious fundamentalist, but that he is making of evolution what the fundamentalists make of the Bible. The fundamentalists read the Bible, you may say, every human answer is in the Bible. And moreover, the Bible is infallible, and it can be extended to everything. This is, you can say, Christianity to run amok or taken in a certain kind of simplistic way. And the argument here is not over evolution, which I agree with, but rather, I think, over the extension of evolution beyond its parameters. It doesn't account for the beginning of life. It doesn't account, or not a full account, of consciousness, and it certainly hasn't given a full account of morality. It is true as far as it goes, but it doesn't go that far. So ultimately, if you want to be an atheist, you can, but don't pretend like you're doing it for scientific reasons. If you want to reject God, that is your right. That is your liberty. But on the other hand, you can't then say, I'm making this choice, but I don't want to live with the consequences of this choice. Ultimately, in Christianity, hell is not a place where God flings the unbeliever. No, ultimately, you say no to God, and God respects your choice. Ultimately, you may say the gates of hell are closed from the inside, which is to say, your rejection is respected as your free choice. I want to thank Dan for sharing the podium with me. I certainly have enjoyed this very much, and I have tried to give it in the right spirit. Thank you for having me.
We have a closing statement from our organizer.
Hi. My name is Xavier Molina, and I'm the Treasurer and Public Relations Director of the Tufts Freethought Society. And the Freethought Society would first like to thank Mr. D'Souza and Mr. Dennett for making their way all the way to this debate, for the sacrifices they made. Also, I believe Mr. Dennett lost some dinner reservations. Well, please give them a round of applause, and thank you for being here very much. We'd also like to thank just our sponsors and everyone who helped organize the event, especially Pat Andriola, who spent just countless hours working around the clock on this, the rest of the Freethought Society as well. And we'd also like to... we also have some gifts for the debaters. So we'd like to present to Mr. Dennett one Tufts watch, which you may proudly wear everywhere you go. And to Mr. D'Souza, we have a clock for keeping the time till the next debate. Please feel free to purchase their brownies and baked goods outside that benefit persons affected by the Darfur conflict. You are welcome to make donations to the Tufts Freethought Society to fund any other future events like this. There will also be a book signing here after the event, so if you would like to, there are books outside that you can purchase, and if you would line up along the edge, you could come to the table and have it signed. Thank you all very much for coming, and I wish you a very thought-filled evening. Thank you.